Well, hey guys, good morning. Hope you're doing great. I want to talk to you this morning about being afraid. I remember as a young guy, 18 years old, started my first business. I remember going to my mom. Quite honestly, I was still living at home. I wasn't even married yet. And I went to my mom and I said, "Hey, I got this opportunity to go into business. Uh, but quite honestly, it may not work." And I was scared to death. It was like I was going to have to borrow $150,000 and go in business. And my dad tried to talk me out of it. He said, "Man, just go get a job and make a little bit of money, and you don't have to take all that risk." And my mom goes, "No, go for it. Like crawl out on that limb as far as you can go just before it breaks, and hold on, and maybe it'll be an amazing ride." And that's exactly what I did. And it was a huge success, selling out to a Fortune 500 when I was 27. But here's some of the things you don't know about me, and I'm going to share them with you because I know a lot of people out there today are afraid. They're at a point in their life where they're like, "Hey, I can go left or I can go right. I can do this thing, but I'm afraid. I'm afraid I may fail." And to be honest with you, you might. That thing that you're trying to do may not work. And I've been at that fork in the road so many times. And I want to encourage you today on a couple of different points. One is I can guarantee you 100% you're not going to be successful if you don't at least try. And you're like, "Well, Big A, you don't even know what it is." No, I'm trusting you to do the due diligence. Like, you got to do your work. You can't do something foolish and go out there and expect it to be a home run. Do your due diligence and make good decisions. But what you probably don't know about is after I sold out to this Fortune 500 when I was 27 years old, a couple of years later, I opened a company up called American Diamond Exchange, rented a big top floor office, had a business partner overlooking the city. It was just incredible. I mean, it was like if you walked in there, you'd be like, "Oh my gosh." And it failed miserably. It took about 2 years to discover that we couldn't compete with some of the Israeli diamond exchanges, and we just didn't have the buying power. And we folded and we closed that business, and I don't remember exactly how much I lost. Even if I remembered, I wouldn't tell you because I'm so embarrassed because it didn't work. And then shortly after that, I came up with a great idea that we were going to do. And we were going to buy a distressed property and we were going to rehab it and sell it on the market. And I named it WICBE, WIC hyphen BE, what it could be. And I thought, "Man, this is genius. Like, I'm going to make a fortune." So I went out, bought the property, started to rehab it, and found out I didn't have the relationships and the connections, nor the experience, nor the knowledge to do that in a profitable manner. Took about 18 months, and I quickly discovered that I didn't have a clue what I was doing. I didn't have the resources, I didn't have the experience, didn't have the subcontractors, didn't have the vendors. And I'm like, what in the world was I thinking? It could have worked, right? I mean, if I had maybe invested in the right partners and had the right situation, and like, I didn't know, right? And it failed miserably. Again, I don't want to tell you how much I lost. And you're like, "Well, Big Al, didn't know that." Well, see, that's my whole point. You can go out and do these things, and people eventually don't even know it. They don't even talk about it. You think that people are talking about your successes and your wins and your failures around the dinner table. They're not. We are not that important for other people to be sitting around talking about our successes and failures, yet it's holding you back. You got this thing that you want to do right now. You're like, "Hey, I got a great idea and I want to go for it. But what if it fails?" Well, what if it fails? Like, what is the worst that's going to happen? You'll lose some money and you'll have to recover and you'll have some bruises and you'll get up and dust yourself off. Listen, I couldn't lay in bed at night and think, would it have worked? That would kill me. Like, I just don't want to do it. I don't want to lay there and go, "Man, if I'd have done this thing, I might have made a fortune." Right? And you lay there in bed and you put it off and you put it off and you put it off, and you will never succeed if you don't try, right? You're going to have some failures. You're going to have some things that don't work out exactly right. You're going to lose some money. So you can take the risk and you can go out there and maybe make a lot. You may lose some money. But it is guaranteed you're not going to make one thin dime if you don't try it. I think I've told this story, and it's kind of a funny story, and it can kind of show you what's possible. I'll admit to you, I said something that I probably shouldn't said. I was a little smart aleck, 30-year-old, and making this comment. Bought a piece of property at auction when I was about 28 years old, and a guy came up to me after the auction that was bidding against me, and he said, "Do you really think you're going to make any money on this property paying that much for it?" And I said, "Mr. Friedman, you were only $1,000 less." And he said, "I'm just curious if you think you're going to make any money." And I said, "Well, there's one thing for sure. I've got a chance and you don't." And I turned around and walked off. Don't be disrespectful to your elders. But my point remains that if you don't get in the game, you can never win. And I want to encourage some of you today that are sitting there thinking, "Man, should I do this?" Well, I'm not going to tell you to jump out there and, put your family at risk and lose everything. That's not what I'm talking about. Calculated risk, get people around you that can help you make good decisions, really walk through what is the possibilities, what are the risks, right? I've never been a risk averse person in my entire career. And let me tell you why. Because I knew that if I didn't take a measure of rest, I would never have any success whatsoever. Now, I'm not going to sit here and name the successes that I've had. I've had a few. God's been really good to us as a family. We've worked hard and we've taken that measure of risk. I used to buy property all the time. I would buy and sell, right? Some I did really good on, some I didn't do good on at all. I didn't make the right choice. Maybe I didn't get out at the right time. Maybe it was just a bad area, right? But you've got to take some risk in order to excel to the levels that you might want to go, right? We just can't play it safe and expect to ever really be successful to any degree. You can go make a living, and that's fine. Risk is not for everybody. But if you're on the fence, if you are sitting there thinking right now, "Man, what should I do?" Here's the next steps. Here's what I would do. I would lay out a very specific plan. I would do a pro forma, right? Really lay it out what the possibilities are. And don't lie to yourself. Don't sit there and say, "Well, it's all going to be great and it's going to work out." No, do your homework, right? Get people around you that have been in that profession before. Circle yourself with trusted advisors. What about those geese, man? They almost landed in the boat. Look at them. They're flying everywhere. They want to be on Facebook Live. Big A coming to you with the geese. But lay it out clearly to these people that you surround yourself with, trusted advisors, people that are in your sphere of influence, people that really know you intimately, people that know like your propensity, they know your goals, your aspirations, they know about your family, and lay your financial data out there. You're like, "Oh my gosh," like they can't help you if they don't know this information, right? They can't give you advice on this new business thing if you're like so far in debt, you're so far underwater, and you want to start this new thing. They need to know that. So whatever it is, whatever position you're in, lay it out very clearly to people that know you well, right? Have the vision. Like, what is your vision? What do you want to accomplish? And how is this new thing aligning with that? What about your core values? Like, is this thing congruent with all the core values that you have? Are you in alignment, right? Lay these things out very succinctly so people can see. And I promise you, if you'll go through this exercise, if you'll get these people around you, there is so much wisdom and value in the consensus of the multitudes. When you have people around you that are sharp people that can really look at it, right? We have blind spots. We've never been down this path before, right? And we want to get people around us that can help us, that can really point out the detrimental places that could be in the future, or that they see opportunities if you would just tweak this or do this, right? People are afraid. They don't want to go do that because if they do, then they're going to reveal areas of weakness. And I just want to encourage you, forget all that, right? That's not important. It's not important that whatever they think of you, they think of you. That's their responsibility, not your responsibility. What you're doing is showing yourself accountable. You're showing yourself that you're not afraid to divulge where you are in this situation that you're currently in. And if you'll do that, I promise you, your chances of success are far greater than it would be going alone. You can go fast, right, alone, but you can go much further when you go with a team. And so I want to encourage you today to really think through, pray through, get people around you, get trusted advisors, get good insight, do your due diligence, gather the information, and then go out there and fire the gun and ride the bullet. You guys have a great day. We'll see you.